Hi, welcome to Today in Tech with myself, Daniel Bumby. Just a quick overview. Today in Tech is a series of podcasts where I'll be talking to our technology leads and specialists within Simoda, our vendors, suppliers, ecosystem partners. We'll talk about what's hot in their technology areas and discuss their roles. So today I have the pleasure of introducing our Head of Data Intelligence, Mr. Tim Latham.
Hi.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. So as this is the first time we're doing this, can you give us an overview of your role here at Simoda?
Sure, absolutely. So I look after what we describe as our data value or data intelligence journey. I sit within the solutions team, so working alongside colleagues that look after infrastructure, unified communications, cybersecurity, etc. And what I try and do is help our customers get more value out of their data.
Yep.
So working with colleagues, the basics of sort of database management, optimization, migration kind of stuff, through BI and analytics, so business information and analytics, understanding your data better, being able to ask the right questions, if not, hopefully maybe get some decent answers so you can make smarter, faster decisions.
Okay.
And then out into like the sexy stuff, I suppose, the intelligent automation arena, where you can start integrating different systems, helping data ideally move through your different functional solutions and systems more effectively.
Fantastic. Love that. Love the role.
Oh, and don't forget, and also sort of mirroring that journey, I look after Microsoft licensing as well for our larger customers.
Yeah, we'll talk about Microsoft in a short while, I'm sure. In terms of obviously your role, so you're engaging with our customers on a daily basis to discuss challenges, issues, and their objectives in and around data. AI is a big part of that at the moment, so let's have a brief discussion about AI.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a hot topic at the moment. So, where are you in terms of our AI journey as Simoda?
Well, in terms of an offering, it's something that we've been exploring and working on for a good couple of years now, and developing solutions that are appropriate to our customers and to the market. It's a little bit difficult. You talk about AI. I do that a lot. There you go. I'm going to do it once today. You talk about AI. What do you actually mean? What we mean by AI isn't necessarily what a customer that's interested in AI means by AI. So that sort of fundamental understanding of what AI, and I prefer to flip it around and talk about intelligent automation because it's an easier subject to sort of get your head around. AI sort of specifically is big data, large organizations, crunching millions of different data points and data fields to try and find predictive capability within a data set. So for example, if you apply for a mortgage, a bank is using AI to analyze you, other people like you, your income, where you live, all those different aspects to decide whether or not you're a decent risk.
So from that perspective, something a lot of people have been doing for a long time then around things like machine learning and
that's sort of that older but still new and cutting edge AI has been around for a long time. Whereas I think in a bang up to date context, AI for most business leaders, business people, and even IT people, AI now sort of means Gen AI.
Okay. So you chat GPT, Copilot.
Yes.
Brilliant. So, what are the top 3 sort of hot topics at the moment in terms of your area?
Okay, well, that's AI is definitely bang up there. Like I said, with that broad definition, what do you mean? But the journey from original sort of not even original Gen AI, original mass market Gen AI in terms of ChatGPT introduction, and then that creating a load of sort of market and public hoo-ha. That's amazing. What can you actually use it for in a business context? You get on there, ChatGPT, write me a poem about a duck on the moon. That's brilliant. That's amazing. How can you actually use it to work? Oh yeah, I've got several. Different lengths, different styles, for a 4-year-old, whatever. But that sort of evolved. But I think there's still people using ChatGPT in work, And there are issues with that, and that's one of the challenges. But essentially, ChatGPT quickly evolved and was adopted by Microsoft, who are obviously a key funder of OpenAI, who built ChatGPT. And Microsoft, I nearly used an inappropriate phrase for a podcast. I'll try and keep it clean. Microsoft have gone fully into Copilot, fully into ChatGPT. So essentially, they've adopted the ChatGPT technology into pretty much all of the Microsoft systems. The key one for the majority of organizations that we talk to, our customers and prospects, is Copilot for 365. So that's essentially integrating Gen AI, ChatGPT, into a safe version of it within your own environment, but also plugged into your own data and also usable, integrated into the different 365 applications we all use every day. Teams, Word, etc., etc.
I must admit, I've used it very, very recently on Excel. I've got a really, really large Excel spreadsheet with a load of the sales data in from Simoda, and usually that'd take me an hour or two to extract the information that I want. A couple of prompts, and it was there very, very quickly in a separate tab. So high five Microsoft. That's helped me massively.
And to be honest, sorry Microsoft, Excel's not really the hero solution for ChatGPT. It's got its issues. It's still useful, but the Copilot functionality within some of the other applications is outstanding.
I know you obviously we talk about Copilot. Agentic AI is obviously something that is hot on people's lists at the moment. So give us a bit of an overview of what that is.
Okay, essentially, if you think, for I don't know how long, there have been sort of bots available, in different sort of commercial environments and internal tools too, that have been very rules based. So if a person asks the right question with the right prompt, you might be able to get the right answer.
Like sort of you get that on websites and stuff as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But they're quite formulaic and they're very structured, and they don't really allow for and facilitate genuine interaction between the consumer, the person, and and the machine, the data.
Are we counting?
System.
That's
two. Whereas agentic AI essentially is using ChatGPT or Copilot, whatever. Its ability to use natural language to both ask the system, the solution, the data, a question, and it understand. It's got accurate semantic understanding of what that question actually is. Go away, find the data, and come back with a natural language answer. So that's it's taken the traditional, very frustrating bot scenario and taken it to a whole new level.
Copilot Studio.
Essentially, again, Copilot in 365 is a great solution. It's not without its challenges, and maybe we'll talk about those. There are security issues in terms of can people get access to information that they really shouldn't? What kind of state is your data in, stuff like that. But Copilot Studio was an alternative Microsoft product that sits outside Copilot for 365, where essentially you can create your own agents.
Right. Okay.
So within your environment, you can create, probably in the first instance, a tool for internal use. So you understand how it works. You can see its benefits. So now, so we've got something internally within Simoda that's essentially an IT technology guru. Where people across the organisation can ask our Copilot questions and get responses back that will be useful to them. So and it's got that access to all that sort of publicly available human intelligence, but also specific things that we've pointed it to internally. So it's hugely useful in terms of actually upskilling the people that are using it, and finding answers really quickly.
Cool. So I've got a couple of bits of notes in terms of a few bits that I want to have a chat with you about, really. So skills in the workforce around AI. I remember talking ages and ages ago, probably years ago now, thinking about it, about the importance of technology skills, and now the importance of being able to use AI for their job role.
Yeah.
Are you starting to see that? Obviously, you've got a young son. He's what, 15?
Coming up for 15, yeah.
So
I think he's probably about as tall as you now.
Yeah. Well, that's not. You know what? That's not great, mate. Trust me. But yeah, do you start to see that there is a lot more of the AI skills being required for people, especially in our customer base, where I still feel we're in the education phase of AI, where we're telling people what it can do.
Yeah.
I presume that's the same with your son, etc., and how they're developing through and understanding technology.
I think so. Yeah, it's certainly the usefulness of AI skills, and when we say that, again, going back to a few years ago, pre-ChatGPT, AI skills were like data scientist, machine learning engineer, stuff like that. So for a medium-sized organisation, recruiting someone along those that's like 6 figures, and you need someone to manage them, and blah blah blah. You're looking at huge
if you can get them, that is.
If you can get them, absolutely. Whereas now AI skills are more about the benefits to the business are about individuals who are willing and able and interested to use AI tools in their role within an organization to get things done faster, to be more productive, to get the boring, repetitive stuff out of the way quickly so that they can focus on higher value stuff, which is obviously of huge value to the business. So the business should be, and I think is, interested in people with those skills. But I think there's another interesting angle to that as well. From an individual perspective, I am interested in these skills. I am interested in this technology. If the business isn't going to make it available to me, that's frustrating. That frustrates me. So another business, a competitor business that is interested and is progressing along that journey, hold on a minute, so maybe I'll go and work for them instead. So there's two sides to that skilling, I think.
I think that there's a lot of that comes from the sort of senior leadership team in terms of their willingness to embrace new technologies and stuff that is outside of their comfort zone. And we're seeing that with some customers we're engaging with already. We see that some customers are really, really interested in forward thinking, and then some of them really don't want to go down that route. You think it's robots are going to take over the world and stuff like that. So we're seeing a hell of a lot of cross the breed of early adopters through to people that just really don't want to touch it at the minute.
That's it. I think a lot of the early adopters, and particularly with our client base, we tend to work with more innovative businesses, but we've got a broad spread of customers. I think now definitely the vast majority of our customer base are at least already piloting Copilot. And absolutely, it starts with leadership. You wouldn't necessarily expect an IT manager to push AI into his organisation. He or she, sorry, don't be sexist, might suggest it into the business, but if there isn't a key leader going, yes, this is important, we as an organisation need to at least be exploring it, we need to understand what it might be able to do for us, then it's not going to get any momentum.
I think customers that are watching this were really interested. That I think our journey around AI was interesting because obviously we've been involved in understanding AI for some time, but I remember we had a few meetings where one of the strategies was to bring everybody together within the business to talk about what AI is and what it can do. So not just about us selling the solutions to our customers or that side of it, but more how we can utilize it. And I think that's helped us massively. So that's good. I know we mentioned around how that fits into, or you mentioned how that fits into other areas. Security, you mentioned. So obviously, security bleeds across every single area that we've got. So in our stack of solutions, we talk about individual stack areas, but we also talk about the bleed across all of that with AI. But also, security is a massive part of that. So what are you currently seeing in the security area around AI, around Microsoft, around licensing, around those sort of areas? Are you seeing any new, interesting things?
I am, and obviously Bryn's a better guy to talk to about this stuff. And again, AI has been integrated into a lot of the security tools that we, provide to our customers for a long time. And it really is. Is it bleeding edge, cutting edge?
Yeah.
In that kind of cyber environment, essentially, you've got bad actors using AI to get into organisations and cause trouble. It's all over the news at the moment.
Marks and Spencer's,
Co-op, Marks and Spencer's, etc. Cyber breach. I don't know if they're sort of AI-derived attacks, but almost certainly they are. And on the other side, you've got AI built into the defence solutions that are trying to stop those things happening. So that really is cutting edge. That's AI versus AI, which is, amazing.
Film worthy.
Absolutely, but I think, the key thing about security from my perspective is, from a data intelligence, data value, data management perspective rather, is that for organisations who are starting to go down this AI journey, and we use Copilot for 365 as like the illustration, they're like, "Ooh, that's quite a sexy tool. I'm interested." But Microsoft, quite rightly, and we go, "It is, but hold on a minute. What kind of state is your data in? Where is it? Who's got access? Have you ever archived anything? Have you got all sorts of rubbish in your system?"
Yeah, we do talk about getting your in rows and columns.
Yeah, exactly.
On a regular basis.
Yes, we do. And for me, I think it's really interesting that those security issues sort of already exist. It's just that Copilot is potentially going to surface them and make them more of an obvious challenge. So, but the tools that a lot of organisations are interested in from a security perspective, like DLP, those that kind of insider risk of data loss and things like that, those kinds of tools and solutions are justifiable and usable and should be looked at just for that security aspect. But they also, in and of themselves, in doing that, clear the road for Copilot and AI. So absolutely, security and AI are very much
a massive part of that.
And to be honest, the security interest is clearing the way for AI. It's not a Copilot interest and then addressing a security challenge that gives you free security. It's the security interest that gives you free AI. Not free AI, that smooths the road for AI.
So we spoke about loads of stuff there. You mentioned Microsoft. So you get involved in our Microsoft element in terms of things like licensing and that structure. How's that developing at the minute in terms of the role, what you're seeing in the marketplace?
It's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. The majority of our customers are in those sort of hundreds of users kind of territory. So Business Premium is sort of our sort of centre of gravity skew, and Business Premium is a great jumping off point for the other tools and the solutions that we've talked about into Copilot or whatever. We are now talking to more and more larger organisations where you're going beyond Business Premium, because that's our 300 limit for users. So organisations have maybe got a core of Business Premium users and they've got a supplement in that estate of E3 and E5. And there's good value in E3. There's great functionality in E5, but it is quite expensive. And that jump up from Business Premium to E5 is again a little bit of an issue. Because it's more than twice as much. Hold on a minute, what am I getting for that? But you're getting an awful lot of value if you look at it in the round in terms of the data, the automated data management, automated security aspects. But there are also lots of options for those who aren't willing to go to full E5, and it is a big budget step. There are all sorts of add-ons for, say, Business Premium that can help you get a lot of the value way to what you're looking for.
So if we've got our customers that we're working with, and we're helping them review and understand what their position is, how can we help potential new customers on that Microsoft journey with us? around 365, around all the other bits that help in there? How do we get on that journey, and what value can we offer?
Well, we would always want to talk to anyone about their Microsoft licensing, because it's a great jumping off point. It's such a foundational, fundamental sort of IT aspect of what the vast majority of organizations, business organizations are doing. So we would want to, what have you got at the moment? Even before renewal, because it's usually annually licensed. So we would want to talk to any organisation who's coming up to renewal to see if we can help them. Let's look at your estate. Let's look at what licenses you've got. Are there any unused? Are you over licensed, or are excuse me, are they the right licenses? Are your termination dates all over the place, or are they consistent so it's all nice and neat? Are you potentially using some of the core functionality within those within that 365 licensing that's there for you to use, but it's completely unused, sort of like Viva Engage and things like that. And then beyond that, licensing is a core aspect to it. But beyond licensing, have you thought about things like the Power Platform? Are you using BI? Which is obviously which sits within the Power Platform. Have you looked at Power Automate? Have you looked at maybe some small Power App solutions that could help do some small things within your business? And then beyond that, into Azure, machine learning, full data.
It's an interesting one, because we often get asked, what is our value in terms of that path? I think it's really interesting you talk about understanding the customer. We have our 4-stage process that I'll bang on about loads and loads of times to people, but 4-stage process: understand, discover, collaborate, design, and then deliver, support, manage. And I think the most important bit is that understand and discover, especially around some of the Microsoft piece. So if we know what the business is trying to achieve, we know what they've got, we know how it currently works. Every single conversation I've had with a customer over the last few years, whenever we talk about software and licensing especially, and we're seeing an increase in requests for software asset management and other stuff as well. But I think I fall into the trap of, if you looked on my system, I've probably got every single software license that's ever been invented, and I may have only used once or twice. But that's because I think, well, I need that. But actually, I think if somebody ran through and looked at what we've actually got, I probably don't need half of the stuff that's on there. So if you look at that across our business of sort of 40, 50 users, if that's a decent value, if you then run that across an organisation of 400, 500 users, there's some serious value to be had there in terms of getting people to use the right software, have the right software installed, and ultimately...
And not the wrong software.
And save
that kind
money.
Of shadow IT, shadow estate stuff is a risk as well.
Well, me personally, I before we rolled out Copilot, I used ChatGPT. I didn't ask it any business stuff. Poems and stuff like that, and other interesting bits. But I do think that there is a lot of people within every business, all of our customers that are watching this, that do have shadow IT. They do have people with the phones. It's easy just to get an app on the phone that they may pay a $5 for from Apple Store, and rather than then go through IT to go and do that. So how do we help businesses address those challenges?
Well, that's a great question. You mentioned software asset management. For the larger organisations who have got that kind of sprawling IT estate, that's a great place to start. And it's not necessarily just a cost driver, though that's naively is the wrong word, but that's where some organisations come at it from. We're spending millions on IT. Hold on a minute. Stop.
Where can we save some money?
Where can we save some money? But understanding if you're over licensed or under licensed, understanding if you've got, again, in those larger organisations where there's a lot of functional autonomy, maybe, where are finance going, with these systems and these solutions? They're not talking to both the individuals, the leadership, and the solutions are not talking to, marketing anymore or operations. So we're getting, there's no golden record for customers, for products. They're all arguing with each other and conflicting. and you know, multiple records and clashing records, and the whole thing can start to break down. So yeah, getting that kind of integration, both from a leadership perspective in terms of where we're going, business strategy, IT strategy, data strategy, is key.
Good, and that's that's what we're talking about with our customers. But so thanks everybody for watching. I hope you found it useful. I love talking to Tim. You've probably seen him on loads of videos of ours as well. Tim likes to talk himself as well, so he does like the sound of his own voice.
I will just plug, there are a few webinars that I've done on Copilot for leadership, marketing and HR. You'll find them on the website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a go. But no, if you're really interested in understanding a bit more about Microsoft platform, about its software estate, also about AI and all the data elements that Tim looks after, intelligent automation, etc., book some time with him. Drop an email over, contact him, phone him, whatever, send smoke signals, whatever you need to do. Speak to Tim, and we can add some real value for you. So thanks for that. Watch your space. Next up, we have the amazing John Carr, who's our head of telecoms or head of communication. John Carr. Who's John?
Carr?
Who's John? It's an inside joke there. John Carr, who's our head of communication solutions. So watch your space. But thanks, Tim. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers.
Thank you.